So then I says to the guy, I said, "Hey, fuck you." Give him both fingers, middle fingers right to him, and I say, "Frig off." And I haven't seen Spike since.
That's he was probably busy up mowing grass with Bob Roberts or something, you know.
But
Yeah.
I did hear that you've been in contact with him and you're trying to get him in for
Hey,
maybe a playoff
I'm
preview or something.
trying to get him in here as a co-owner of Billy Top Trevin Bottom, but his manager won't reply to my emails right now.
Yeah.
Well, probably because he's his own manager and can only use one hand to type, so might be a
Well,
little delay there.
it might be a little delay. Yeah, I'll see about getting him in here. Maybe later. Maybe he'll answer my calls. You never know.
But for those of you who don't know whose voice that is Gage, the owner of Billy Top, Trevin Bottom, one of the people who knows how to push my buttons the best. So
Let's
Adam,
go.
he joined us this week. He does look like Adam Schefter in some budget motel in the outskirts of Atlanta, probably, but Gage is
Mm-hmm.
with us, and I think he has a couple things to say. So we might just let him riff.
I like it. I
Yeah,
like
well,
it.
how about before we get into it, we kind of need to say the catchphrase, you guys. We got to say it, and it's going to work the first time. We're going to get it all on the first go. All right. So, how about we take a look and see what's going on behind
Behind the
the tool
Toolbox.
shed?
Let's go.
Yeah. That's right.
Just I want to speak to the whole budget motel and on the outskirts of Atlanta. 2.5 months ago, I don't know, Blau. I don't know if I told you, I had a rental car stolen from a
Oh, you
hotel
told me.
outside. Yeah,
Oh
You
no.
told me when you were at my house a
Oh
couple weeks
no.
ago.
That's right. Adam. I had a rental car stolen from a hotel outside of the Atlanta airport at like I don't even know what time in the morning, but long story short, I'm still battling my company's insurance about paying the whole thing. So
What the hell?
yeah, man, fucking wild to say the least.
So
Jeez.
is that kind of extracurricular activity you have going on this year impacting your ability to manage your team?
I'll tell you, getting a little injury bug. You know, not going to make excuses. Unlike JJ, who's just the excuse queen. But you know, we're battling through, making some moves. See how Michael Pittman does for me moving forward. You know, got him in a trade for Geno Smith. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of mismanagement from some teams here, and that don't deserve some wins. But we can get into that in a little bit.
No, you had some good numbers you put up last week here, and poor Tony. Tony had some good numbers on his own, but just wasn't enough. Just wasn't enough.
Just,
He had a
yeah, yeah, it just wasn't enough. Again, he put up I think 120 something. Um, but getting Saquon back was huge. You know, after the bye week. Joe
yep,
Mixon, he had a little of the injury bug for about 3, 4 weeks. He came back and put up, I think around like 27, 28 for me.
yep.
Um, I'm still struggling a little bit at the wide receiver position, trying to make some changes. But you know, Chris Olave being out definitely isn't hurting or isn't helping my cause. But
No,
well, getting rid of Greg Zerline after he fucked me last week, and kind of let a win squeak away. Getting Will Lutz, he put up 18 for me, so we're kind
look
of moving
at
in the right
that.
direction. But
Yeah, not
yeah,
that we want to look too far not that we want to look too far back in the past, but yeah, you did have some major issues at kicker 2 weeks ago when you played what is arguably your arch rival, and I know he was talking a little bit of smack in the group chat, and I don't know if he's been
yeah,
getting under your skin or not, but yeah, if we wanted you to come on today, to maybe address the budding
yeah.
controversy and rivalry between yourself. You named your team after him, and a little derogatory way. But I want you to address the rumors about this budding rivalry with Trev.
Well, he's a Bell Township guy. I'll give him a little love, but he's treading in some water he doesn't belong in. He put up a 200 spot. Respect, that's almost like a full moon type of thing. Maybe a Haley's Comet in our league, especially
He
with how many
did.
teams we got.
I swear to
But
God, I will never let him live that down, scoring 200
yeah,
against me.
yeah.
Son of
I
a
mean,
bitch.
it's impressive, right? I do respect it, but since then, man, he's a bottom tier. That is why it's called Billy Top, Trevin Bottom, right? Where he belongs.
Oh,
It does make sense.
And
It does make
like
sense now that you put it that way.
it
If you
does
put it
make
that way.
complete sense. That you've explained it appropriately. That makes complete sense to me,
I
actually.
thought it was the other. I thought it was something else. I will be honest. I thought it was something else. So I'm glad you
Adam was
straightened that
taking
out.
us through Urban Dictionary a couple weeks ago, trying to figure out, what your team name actually meant. So
Yeah,
we probably
yeah.
need to get you on sooner than we did to finally explain it to
yeah,
us.
well, hey, shout out. I can't take full credit for the name. That name is an old Weaver League fantasy football name from none other than Dylan Weaver. So, kind of doing some copyright infringement, but he's letting it slide, even though he works for Pennsylvania State Police. Much respect. So, love it.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
But,
Well,
going back to it, when you're putting all your faith in Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr., like I said, they might
that,
have a good showing, but that's an ass duo to build your team around.
Well,
they had one good game.
You may be thinking you're Adam Schefter in that hotel room, but apparently you didn't see that Trev unloaded Marvin Harrison Jr.
He did.
Not only
So,
but yours
hey,
truly
hey,
just this afternoon.
hey,
Breaking news, everyone.
that trade has not gone through the entire league yet. It could still get vetoed. I might veto it right now. Where can I go in there and veto that real quick?
Let me tell you, it should be under the league. You know what? We'll figure it out. I'll send you the link.
You're actively promoting collusion with the league commissioner. That's a highly punishable offense.
I was brought back into this league, I think, to control the collusion that I think is occurring right now. So we'll see.
You were part of the committee.
Yeah, I was asked back by various members.
The anti-collusion committee.
That's right. It's a subcommittee to take down the commissioner.
Well, now that you've outed yourself, I'll know how to protect myself for in future years. So, yeah, always one step ahead. Always one step ahead.
I love it. I love it. What do you guys think about kind of the standings we're at right now with kind of who's at the top? Is it a surprise that old Huckett Chuckett's at the top, or what are we thinking here?
Hey, it's a surprise to me. I'll tell you that much. I'm not used to this level of play here from my team. I don't know what I'm having imposter syndrome going on right now. Like it's like, this isn't me. I'm used to like the bottom half, just like fucking, hitting. I luckily haven't had too much of the injury bug, but I've gotten like the sickness bug all of a sudden. Fucking Debo Samuel getting pneumonia and playing 3 snaps. Should just sat, and told us to sit. But whatever, I guess worked out for me because it still came through for the win. I had to beat JJ on his birthday, but happy birthday.
Yeah. It was kind of a pathetic performance from Grace Chair's cross pattern.
I gave him the opportunity to win on his birthday.
You gave an opportunity. You had a couple low scoring guys, Deontay, Debo. Butker had a couple extra points, but nothing special. And he didn't put together his best lineup. I guess there wasn't much looking at his bench that he could have done. But -5 from the Jets, 2.9 from Leggett. And he's not. That was a tough lineup. I know he's dealing with injuries, but damn.
Yeah.
He was a low score. He was a low score this week. Can you believe it?
It's wild. It's wild to think, for sure. And I'm looking forward to potentially using George Pickens here coming up now. He did get me 23 points on my bench last week, so we'll see if he's starting to trend up with good old Russell Wilson at the helm.
So you are going to put him in your starting lineup here in this week's match up against Adam?
You know what? I'm going to say it. I'll tell you right now. If Debo isn't good to go this week, I'm putting in Pickens.
Okay. All right.
I think that's my play. That's my play.
So how are you kind of handling all that pressure of being at the top and kind of everyone's, gunning for you and really wants to kind of dethrone you at the kind of not necessarily the midway point, but we're creeping up
Yeah,
on the midway point of the season.
we are. I've gone up against some good teams. I've gone up against the number 2 team. I've gone up against Drew, and came out the winner there. I put him down pretty solidly. Drew just that one loss. That's from me. That he
Hmm.
has. That's from me.
Okay.
I will say I'm getting a little concerned. Xander's coming out of nowhere here. Gene Steratore coming out of the blue. He's 5-2 right now,
Hmm.
sitting in the third position.
Still yet to make an acquisition, right? Kind of the
Man,
silent assassin.
yeah, out of the blue, things are starting to boil up in here. So
But look how well, you've been so consistent. Look, you have 944 points for. I mean, the
Yeah.
next closest again, Xander did make a run out. He has 884. I mean,
yeah,
nobody's close to you, and so you're still pulling out wins. And it was the same last week. You've allowed the most points, but you scored the most, and you continue that hot streak. So it's been pretty impressive.
yeah, yeah. I'm proud of my team so far in the moves that I've made. And we're gonna keep at it. We're gonna just keep hucking it and
Yeah,
hucking it football.
Hucking and
I don't.
chucking.
Yeah, I don't
Hucking
know
and chucking. That's what we do.
I don't know what your preseason expectations were, but I'm assuming that the team's out kicking its coverage and that you're feeling, like you got nothing to lose.
Yeah, I'm all in, and I'm making some moves here and there, but really my core team hasn't changed. So yeah,
A-
we'll see how it goes. ROS
Adam, have you won this league yet?
once.
You
Once,
I
did
and then
did
win
you're
once.
once, yes.
Yeah,
nice. Okay.
yeah. But then most of the time I'm usually lower half. I had that. You weren't here last year, right? You weren't in the league.
No, no.
I had a good year until I had actually drafted um, McCaffrey, and I had McCaffrey. He was my bell cow, and then I had
Hmm.
uh, Kirk, Kirk Cousins, and I
Hmm.
had a couple other guys, and um, I fell to the injury bug.
Yeah.
Kirk had that ankle injury or whatever, and didn't have a backup running back or wide receiving core. So last year wasn't good for me. This year, it's turned it around.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What do you guys think? What's going on with the league and why are we seeing so many, I don't want to say like high level players, but maybe like high profile players? Why do you think they're going down so often?
Um,
Every year we say, oh, this is the worst injuries that we've ever had. It feels like these are the worst injuries, but yeah, we're seeing some season-ending injuries this year. I
Hmm.
feel like, and it does seem like this is a worse year, but it's rough that's what's happening to all these players.
a lot of our brethren back in Punxsutawney would blame the vaccine, but I'm gonna blame it on just the added game, the less time in preseason preparation. I think they might be getting out there too early, and their bodies aren't ready for the season and for that extra game.
I hear you on that. I think some people even say not participating in preseason or some of these holdouts are playing a
Hmm.
factor because the guys aren't in shape. They're not taking hits right.
Look at
Um,
CeeDee Lamb. I mean, CeeDee Lamb didn't
yeah,
play in the preseason. He got that big contract, but Dallas stinks, and he's
right.
part of the problem there. He's not performing
Yep.
up to that contract he signed, nor is anybody down there. But
And you talk about big contracts. Look at Deshaun Watson, right? Hasn't performed a day since that contract was signed, and now he's
he just
out
went
for a
down for the
full year.
season.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
now that's going to affect that entire team. They got Jameis Winston, who I think is going to be their starter, but DTR was supposed to be their starter, but I think he's hurt too. Then they just signed Bailey Zapp or Zappy, whatever his name is, long-term backup QB in New England. So I mean, they're struggling. I mean, Jameis might throw for 15 touchdowns this season, but he's probably going to throw for 15 picks. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
you're
know
gonna
how
get
that's going to
that.
help. I mean, they're in the toilet, and I don't see their way out. I think they're going to get the number one overall draft pick, or they're going to fight Carolina for it.
Mm,
But who do they take? Who's going to be a real, game changer in this year's draft? Are they going to take a QB but still pay 240, for Deshaun Watson? I don't know. I mean, and what do
The
you do
owners
with
have
Bryce
the
Young?
owners have the owners have enough money to do it. Bryce Young's going to get traded. You know, Cleveland's building that new $2 billion stadium and entertainment
Yeah,
area outside of Cleveland. They got more money than they have to do with it. 240 is nothing to them. And Bryce Young, he's gonna have to find a home somewhere else. And but if you look at
but
if you going back to like the fantasy perspective of the injuries going down and having a 14 team league, I think personally it adds to the competition because
Mhm.
I think I said it last week to be more strategic. I'm not trying to talk shit on myself, but I was telling Adam earlier today that I needed like a major therapy session because my team is in complete shambles, and obviously I have mismanaged something, which
Yeah,
which caused me to trade away about half my team today. So I'm hoping that some of these
the
new
shake
players
up,
coming in maybe give me the spark I need. Yeah, we had a
just
big time
shaking it
shakeup.
up.
We had a big time shakeup today. Made a big deal with the old Musket. Scout some of his Baldwin talent. Made a deal with my Bell Township brethren. Little change of scenery thing with our wide receivers because Trevin and I are both battling there in the middle of the ranks. We're
hmm
tied for six with Anthony. So we're struggling, and we need a spark. Just like Daniel Jones got benched last week, they said that they needed the spark. It didn't work out, but I'm hoping the alternate for me that we can get something because I know I talk shit on JJ for being the low scorer this week, but I was about zero point 0.7 points above him, so nothing special over here in the Blau camp either.
Yeah.
yeah.
And listen, talking trades real quick here. Craig, man, he had to make some trades because he made a trade last week with Jim. He traded Tony Pollard and Jordan Love to Jimmy, and Jimmy traded him the Buccaneers D and Chris Godwin. And doesn't
Ooh,
Chris
Oh,
Godwin go
he's
down?
out for the year, isn't he?
Oh
I think
man,
he is out for the year. Yeah,
that is just terrible. Terrible timing. I mean,
and
he would have been set
he
up, but
he
ugh,
doesn't even have he doesn't have the Buccaneers D even on his team anymore. So he literally gave away two players for two players or two spots that aren't ever they're not gonna be used the rest of the season. So
yep,
or maybe if he picks up Tampa Bay again, but yeah, he's got Chris Godwin on IR, Tua on IR, and then I think he's got someone else on IR right now too. So a little injury bug. Calvin Ridley, questionable.
He has
Jayden
Puka
Reed,
Nakua on
questionable.
IR too.
That's
yeah.
who it is. Yeah. So it's like, damn, he's gonna have to really scrape up some wins here, and
Yeah, I mean, is
they
he
I
trying
think
to challenge JJ for the amount of hurt players on a team?
Well,
You know,
he has Jamar Chase coming in, and he has Tyler Lockett coming in. I was desperate for a running back, so I traded. Nick
yep.
Chubb's coming back. He's always consistent, and this Jaden Reed is looking good for the Packers. So and he's the sixth wide receiver right now. So I got rid of my first round pick, but I need to spread the talent around on my team a little bit and see if we can string a couple wins together here because I'm out of the playoffs looking in right now.
yeah, yeah. What's kind of the consensus about um the whole league right now? Do you guys feel that 14 is kind of the appropriate amount for the competition? Do you guys think that like back to 12, or kind of what's the feeling from you guys at this point of the season?
I wouldn't go more than 14. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
No, we're
Uh,
not going to go more than 14. 14 is going to be the max.
yeah,
yeah,
I think the group of people we have, right now is good. I think it's a good group, and I think
hmm
it's everybody has a decent, half decent team.
Yeah.
You know, and
We're
if
not
one,
gonna
I hate it.
ask anybody to leave, but you
Yeah, and I
know,
don't like having
it's
an
Yeah,
odd
yeah,
number of people. I don't like having an odd number of people either. So if one person decides they want to take a year off or leave, that's perfectly okay. But you know, if we go down to 13, I'm going to try and get that 14th person to come back in and
yeah.
at least sub in for a year because you know, God forbid we lose two people. I hope that doesn't happen. I'd like to keep things at 14 and be consistent
yeah.
um
Yeah.
going forward.
Yes. You know, and really what we're gonna try and do is, Dan and I have discussed this. We're gonna try and keep track of who's listening to this show, and
Hmm.
that's gonna be like if you don't listen, then yeah, that's when we're gonna ask you to get out. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's gonna be like the relegation system. Your views are gonna be like points in the English soccer system, and
yeah,
the
if
the two people with the least amount of views on the pod over the given season are gonna get relegated, and we're gonna pick
mhm.
up two people.
Yeah, and if you're not watching or listening to the show at least 5 times a day, that's gonna be an issue that we're gonna have to address. You know, maybe, you know, we haven't started charging for waiver wire pickups, but we might start charging for
And hey,
you know,
and remember the views benefit the whole league. You know, revenue sharing. If if
exactly.
there's view counts go up, the opportunity for revenue goes up. That benefits
Yeah.
every team.
Yeah, listen,
Like
look,
it.
I got my man cream hat on. I mean, they're a sponsor of my other show. I'm trying to talk to them and say, "Hey, listen, I got this other one that could definitely use you guys, you know, as a sponsor." So,
I like it. So what do you guys ever think, fantasy leagues I've been in the past of um doing like a cash type of like pick system or
yeah.
drafting
Like an
in that
auction.
regard? Yeah, yeah. Well, I was thinking like lottery, but that wasn't the right word. But definitely like an auction of like real money, right? So you get like more skin in the game. And I'm not saying anybody in the league isn't giving a shit, right? I think the competition is pretty legit just by the group message, by the moves that people are making. I do think people care, right? I think people are just on some bad luck in a couple
Yeah.
teams with the injuries, or they get they put up a good week, but someone puts up a better week, and kind of how Tony put up 120 plus, just got up against a team that put up 145, and that was me. But a little bit more skin in the game, a little bit more, whatever we want to call it. What do you guys think about like those sort of like auctions at the beginning of the game or beginning of the season?
I think that could be
So
something we could vote on. I'm kind
yeah,
of
here
I'm kind
here
of on the side of how it is right now, but you know, I'd be open to letting it up to a vote.
Yeah.
I'll give you like a personal opinion and then a commissioner's opinion. Personal opinion is I would do it if there was interest. But I think I would want to keep it separate from what we're doing here. I like this league having 14 people. We all put $50 in, decent enough prize to keep people interested and
Hmm.
chatting all year, but not enough that's going to not too much that's going to put anybody out. And it's just a good way to stay connected. And I don't want people to feel like too much pressure. It's like a friend thing. But if there was like a group of 6 or 8 or 9, 10 people that wanted to do something on the side and have a little more skin in the game and play something along those lines, and I think I would do it, and I would I'm sure other people would. I'd want to keep this league for what it is. We've been doing it. What did I say? I don't know,
Yeah.
this is 11 or 12 years. I'd want to keep things
Hmm.
consistent. And if we do something on the side, I know like Drew does something similar for the playoffs every year, like that single, whatever it's called. But we could do something like that. But I think Trev asked something similar, and we're open to always talking about changes. But everything, like we always talked about, goes to a league vote, and majority wins. Commissioner abstains, so we can get a true majority, and any
Hmm.
changes will be voted upon by the league.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a full agreement, right? Of loving how the league has been very consistent. Again, I think everybody does take it seriously, and I, not a knock on anybody, just seeing what anybody thinks, seeing what you guys think, and you're definitely leading the charge of putting this out and really putting on a, bringing each team in each week and kind of chopping it up. So. For those listening, just kind of curious on what people think. We can kind of chat about it this year, but agreed, group consensus has to be there. I don't want to do it, even if half the teams want to do it. I still don't think that's enough. Like, I'd want to get more of a buy-in from 11, 12 teams to really make that sort of change, because that's a
Yeah.
big change. That's a pretty big financial investment for what it is, right? Or just keep it friendly with a little bit of cash on the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Hey,
by the way, Dan and I were starting a Patreon for this, so if anyone wants to put, I think it's $50 down for the Patreon for this podcast. It goes straight into my
that'll go
pocket. So
towards the inaugural auction league.
I love it. I love it. Good shit.
always the businessman.
I like it. Yeah. So who do
Yeah.
you guys have this week?
Yeah, let's get into the this week's coming up games here. I think I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I know that the two Adams in the league, me and Petrin, are going to have a pretty close game.
Oh, you got Taylor Gang this week.
Yes, I do. And he's sitting there at 9th place, and he has a chance to knock down the champ so far, and he has a chance to do it. He does. He certainly does. I'm getting a little sweaty about it.
Yeah,
Adam,
looking at his
yeah, he has
Go
a
ahead,
great. Go ahead. No, he has. You were going to say the same thing. He has a great team on paper. I think he's just dealing with some inconsistencies across the board too. Like looking at his team. I mean, he has talent the whole way. The whole way down the lineup.
He does.
Yeah,
He does.
yeah. After kind of watching some of these teams, Aaron Rodgers is having probably and I know he just picked him up, right? Big reason why I dropped him was he is having
Mhm.
probably statistically the worst season he's ever had outside of maybe like year 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he
But
stinks, and I'm here for it.
yeah, he's bad. But I look at guys like Zay Flowers on his lineup and Terry McLaurin, and I'm like, these guys are putting up ridiculous numbers. I mean, Zay Flowers was tearing up Tampa Bay on Sunday night, and if Scary Terry keeps Jaden Daniels like in that, like if that's the matchup, those guys are going to put up ridiculous numbers too. Even Marcus Mariota put some decent numbers up, and I know it was against the Panthers, but
Oh,
that's legit.
you're breaking my heart talking about that because I lost my star quarterback. I can't even talk about it. I can't even talk about it.
I know. He's been a very impressive rookie QB, not only just in the fantasy world, but just in lighting up teams.
But
But
Cressley, going back to yours, Adam Taylor Gang Petrin has Aaron Rodgers in right now, but that Caleb Williams lurking there on the bench is
Yeah.
is sneaky. He's coming off a bye, but he's coming off a 4-touchdown game against Jacksonville, and then and then the week prior, I had 2 shitty teams because he played Carolina, but he threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams is lurking there on Adam's bench, and I could maybe see him making the change there because
here's
Aaron
my
Rodgers
thought.
Again stinks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. And that's a hard here's my thought on that. Your QB for Washington goes down last week. So who they got in again this week now for Washington? Is it Marcus Mariota? Yeah.
Marcus Mariota, yeah.
Yeah. All right. What are the chances that Chicago gets out to an early lead against them? They're coming off their bye. Their defense is well rested. And Caleb Williams doesn't have to do too much. And then DeAndre Swift, sitting on my flex spot, takes over, just runs the clock out with running the ball. That's what I'm hoping kind of happens.
I mean, you have a good enough team where you don't need to talk yourself into a win, which sounds like what you're doing. So give yourself a little more credit than what's due right now, because
yeah,
you're wanting Caleb Williams to suck, but you have a good enough team where I don't know that it's going to matter.
Yeah. Well, okay. So here's where I'm not feeling too good about it. Alvin Kamara just came out and said that he's got a broken hand, he's got a broken rib, what else can break on this guy? He's gonna have a broken leg by the end of this one. I hope not, because he's been so consistent for me, but he's been playing through all that shit.
Taylor Gang might send Jimmy out there to concuss Kamara before the game.
Yes.
So just to hope you don't see it and that he doesn't come out of your lineup.
Yeah,
Taylor Gang.
I hope that doesn't happen. Jim, you stay away from Kamara. Stay the fuck away.
Taylor Gang sneaky. He might call in the henchman. He might call in Zegama Beach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he might.
You never know.
And I just noticed, I do have George Pickens playing this week in place of Deontay Johnson, because Andy Dalton, unfortunately, was in a car wreck this week. Not going to be playing against Denver. I wasn't going to play him anyway, but Deontay Johnson was a pretty big beneficiary of having Andy Dalton in at QB for Carolina. But with whatever their quarterback is now, again, that guy, it's not good. It's not good.
You just need to be careful though, because Debo has the 8:20 game, and you got to make sure you get somebody in there. You don't know if he'll call that early or not. But
I got his backup, Juwan Jennings.
Oh, I just noticed that.
Yeah.
Sneaky. Very smart.
That's what has been my bench. Basically, backups to everybody on my team. I know it's gonna hurt me whenever bye weeks start coming around for my team, especially my week 12 against you, Blau, because Joe Burrow, Breece Hall, and Alvin Kamara are all out. But
thank God.
Yeah, that might be your week. That might be your week.
Thank God.
Well, Juwan Jennings was out last week. I think he had a leg injury or something. So if he pops back in, but it just goes back to that injury bug. Their top three receivers are battling something, whether it's illness, whether it's injury, season ending.
Yeah,
he's done. Yeah, he
tore his ACL.
Done. Yeah, he's gone. So I mean, they're going to be relying on guys in the depth chart who God knows where they play, like Western Kentucky or fucking IUP or something. So
Turkey Bowl.
There's been some magical plays in that game over the years, but magical. But looking at Joey Burr, he's kind of coming on finally, and having a couple rough weeks. I'm impressed with what he's doing.
Yeah. I'm all right that they're losing, but he's playing from behind, and that's helping. That's always good for a QB on your team. So
if we're hucking it and chucking it, right, from a QB standpoint, it's good.
Right? You're damn right. Yeah.
I like it.
That's my tight game of the week. Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, Gage, you have Drew. You got to take him out.
Yeah,
this is your chance, man. This is your chance. Help me out here.
Right. So, I mean, just really looking at all the matchups this week, there's not really one where you can look at it and be like, "Oh, there's a clear winner here." Right? I know that's most weeks, but there's some pretty some pretty tight ones with even Xander and Tony. Right?
Yeah.
Xander's
man, come on,
3.
Do it.
Tony, Xander at 3. Tony at 13th, but projected is only like a 5.5 point difference, which is not a lot. That's one touchdown by one player, and Tony takes it, right, if it goes that way. Looking at my matchup.
Oh yeah,
looking at my matchup right now, I mean it's less than a point on the projection, but it's going to be about how do some of these teams really bounce back. How does Baker bounce back after throwing 2 picks in the first half against Baltimore, having a good second half, but that was a game they should have probably won. And now he's going to carry that into this week against Atlanta. What does Jerry Jeudy do, right? He might not even be in my lineup this week. Can Devin Singletary stay healthy? Can he come back and make a big impact against a very stingy Steelers defense right now? On Monday Night Football.
I mean, he's no Breece Hall. I mean, my guy Breece Hall.
Agreed.
But Brees put up some good numbers through the air at least. Maybe not on the
Yeah.
ground, but I think
You know what else I hate? I hate to say Gage. I don't even mean to interrupt you.
That's good.
Drew's finally getting some recognizable names in his lineup.
Yeah.
Adam and I have talked for the last 2 or 3 weeks that
Uh,
we don't recognize a couple of guys that are in this lineup, and shame on us. But I recognize just about every name here except for his number two running back. So
hmm
you're unfortunately probably catching him on a on the up and coming. But I think like you
mhm.
said, you guys are about a point apart projected.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Hey, and
it's gonna be close.
Patrick Mahomes is going to have DeAndre Hopkins
He hasn't
potentially
been.
for Sunday.
Yeah, they traded for him.
Yeah.
He hasn't been great though. Mahomes hasn't been great.
That
They're
that whole
winning.
offense is not what it used to be. They're really holding on by some defensive play. Like I don't worry going up against Travis Kelce anymore. I used
No.
to, right?
Uh-uh.
I used to be fearful of that guy, and now it's okay, right? Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes used to be, fuck, he's going to put up 35 no matter what. It doesn't feel like that anymore. He may do it against Las Vegas because they have a shit defense, but I'll be honest, I look at that lineup and yeah, but I think he's really relying on the Chiefs to have a good game on both sides of the ball here with Patty Mahomes, Worthy, and the Chiefs defense.
Yep.
Might be a good strategy, but we've seen it not work on the other side of trying to put a duo or a trio in there against a team, and then they all fall flat, and that costs you a game. Um, maybe the
I
theory is he can waste one right here because of some buys or whatever. Um, but I don't want to take it for granted either.
Gage, are you considering benching Singletary this week since you also do have the Steelers defense?
I'm thinking about
That's
it.
tough.
It's tough, right? It's I look at what Brees Hall did, not necessarily running, but catching the ball, right? Will
Yeah,
the
that's
Giants do something similar? And I can go, PPR here and just start collecting points off the receptions. I don't know, right? I gotta really evaluate. I want to see what Chris Olave does too. Is he going to be
that would be the
back?
thing. If Chris Olave's back, you still have that QB that is just terrible in New Orleans.
hmm Yep.
Until Derek Carr comes
Oh,
back,
that's your
it's
boy,
hard.
Gage. Spencer Rattler. Your
Spencer
favorite
Rattler,
college that's your
Yeah,
favorite college athlete of all
dude,
time.
dude,
he's not doing so hot.
worst fucking pick I've ever seen from a team is Spencer Rattler. He could have went undrafted. He's still the worst pick I've ever seen. He was a
Isn't he your
shit
boy from
quarterback.
South Carolina? Aren't you a big South
No,
Carolina? Aren't you a Gamecocks fan?
no, no,
I think you're
no,
lying to the people.
no. Never lie to the people. He was
I see
shit
that
in there like
Spencer
when he came
Rattler
out of
jersey in the background behind you.
yeah, shit when he came out of high school in Arizona, shit at Oklahoma, shit at USC and Columbia, South Carolina. Shit now. I
How did
mean,
he make his way to QB at the Saints then?
it was a
Somebody didn't
bad
do their
draft class.
homework.
Bad draft. How did Bryce Young go first overall? Bad,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You know what
People
I
too
read
afraid to
today?
make a mistake. What's up?
Who's the dude that intercepted two balls from Rogers' sweet Beanie Wells? David Wells, Beanie Wells, is that
Yeah,
his name?
Beanie Baby.
Beanie Wells.
No, Beanie Bishop, Ben
Beanie
Bishop.
Bishop. Beanie Bishop.
There you go. Yeah.
I heard he asked Aaron Rodgers to sign both footballs that he intercepted from him, and Aaron Rodgers agreed to it. I give
What
Beanie
a
Wells I
baller
give
move.
Beanie Wells credit for that. Or
Yeah.
Beanie
I mean,
Bishop.
What are you gonna do?
respect.
Yeah. You
Worst he
gotta
could say
do it.
is no, right? Like, yeah. I mean, going being an undrafted guy, right? I think he played at WVU. Um, so like you go undrafted and pick off arguably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game twice in a game.
Yeah.
What the worst he can say is no, right? You still got it up on him.
Yeah. I have a guy, my buddy at work, is a number one Jets fan, and he was actually at the game on Saturday or Sunday, I mean, and so like I have been like an Aaron Rodgers sympathizer just because I've been trying to make him feel better, you know. It's like, hey, you know, he was against the Steelers, you man. The defense was just our defense is wild, man. He's gonna turn it around, all right. So like I've in the process of me trying to make him feel better, I think I've like made myself think that, you know, he really is going to get better, but who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And bringing in listen, Devontae Adams too.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little
First
bit
game
worried.
yeah.
Yeah, a little bit worried. The connection's there. I was
That
a little bit
bromance is
worried.
over. That bromance
He,
is over.
well, he wasn't getting the ball enough, so the bromance is officially over. But I did want to ask you guys a question about some, expansion or an expansion team. You guys asked me to come back. I'd much appreciate it. Loving getting back in the league. What do we think about, Billy's best team here sitting at 3-4 in the 10th spot out of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania?
That's,
Bill,
yeah.
it's tough being an expansion team. So he's fighting. I'll say he's fighting the good fight. I could use a little more activity in the group chat, a little more of that, that Weaver, what's the word I'm looking for? That Weaver wit. I could use a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, welcome addition to the league, in my opinion. What about you, Adam?
I feel bad, you know, coming in. He's not having the best first year with us, but he has some opportunities to coming up here to win. I think he does. It's still a long season. Let me see the scoreboard here because I think he has a chance to win this week. I think
He's
does.
playing Anthony. He's playing Anthony this
He
week.
he has a chance. So I think it's this could be his week, you know. Let's turn some things around, Billy. I believe in you.
I mean, 3-4 right now is kind of like a sweet spot, right? We got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 teams. Damn near half the teams right now are sitting at 3-4. So it's like this neck and neck about who's going to start jumping, and this is Billy's time. Anthony is at the top of that 3-4 list, so Billy needs a win here to bring Anthony down, jump up, get a little bit tighter into that playoff race because we all know all you got to do is get in.
But you know what? Anthony is riding some big momentum. Adam, I think you and I both said last week that we thought that he was going to pull out a much needed victory against Jimmy, and he did. Jimmy had a I can't be mean because I did worse than him, but Jimmy had a rather down week too.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to tell you as we get to the halfway point here is actually past the halfway point. This is a must win for Brian Exotic. I'm declaring week 8 a must win. It has to happen. I got to take out the old musket. Number one for pride sake, I kicked him out of the league for about 3 hours last year. We had a little spat. We've since hugged it out, but you still got to take down an old South Hills rival, and this is a must win. Made a big trade with him this week, and I know whoever wins the matchup, we'll still share a beer and watch Boy Meets World, but I could really use the victory to go back to 500. Not gonna lie, I'm desperate.
Tight play or projection here too. About a half a point splits you two, and yeah, I don't know. I think you got to take advantage of playing the worst team in the league right now, and pull that win out. To stay very competitive. But
that's and you made trades to the team that you're playing this week, so that's
and if it was a bold move, it was a bold move, and if Jamar Chase goes off for 210 yards and 2 touchdowns, and I have to, I'm gonna have to live with that. I'm not gonna be happy about it, but general managers make these decisions for a reason, and we're feeling that the decisions made this week to let go of some of our best players are what's best for the team going forward, and we're hoping that'll push us back to 500 this week, and get a little bit of momentum going into the second half of the year.
There you go.
I like
There
it.
you go.
I like it.
All right. Well, here, I'm going to give you my bold prediction of the week here. I'm going with Tony over Xander. Tony sitting in 13th
Ooh.
place. Let's take down Xander, Tony. Do it for your old pal Cressley. All right. I need people to start. I need these other teams to start distancing everyone else from me. Number one. Okay. We can't have anyone else getting close. So Gage, this is your week. Take down the Drew Meister and Tony. Tell Gene and his Lamar Jackson to sit down.
I am personally, I'm going to take Adam Petrin over Huckett Chuckett football this week. Only if he gets that piece of garbage, Aaron Rodgers, out of his lineup and puts Caleb Williams in and lets him cook a little bit. But that's
There you go.
the only way. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to do it against New England. They have a terrible offense, but that whole offense right now is just shaken up. They don't know which way is up. They need some more help. They need some more time together.
Yeah.
I think
Are you
he
saying
puts
there's
Caleb Williams in.
there's probably not going to be like garbage time for Aaron Rodgers to try and really huck it and chuck it,
I just don't see it, right? I just don't
Yeah.
see it. I think even though New England's having a down year, fighting for the first overall draft pick in the 25 draft, I think they always come out, right? It's just like Cincinnati could be 0-13 and they're going to play a 11-2 Steelers team as hard as ever.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to see New England's best. They don't want to, fall to Aaron Rodgers. So I think if he puts Caleb Williams in, I'm going to take Taylor Gang over Huckett Chuckett football.
It's all right. I do that
Bold.
so far. That has worked in my favor. So
Adam
keep
loves being
going.
an underdog. Don't forget that. You just gave him some bulletin board material. So, when you see him break out for 200 or plus this week, and finally take over illegal touching is the high score for a week. I think you're
Yeah.
going to be regretting that hot take.
Mhm.
But I'm going to make a similar one. I think JJ's going to take down Jimmy this week. I know JJ had what some would say an abysmal performance in week 7. But I think I think he motivated the troops, for lack of a better term, this week. And I think he's going to come back with a vengeance. I think he's getting a little healthy. He's made the right moves when it comes to the waiver wire. Zegama Beach is coming off a tough loss to Anthony, and I think he's gonna go down twice in a row. And JJ's gonna bring it back and start to ride the momentum train a little bit as well. I gotta stick with my other Bell Township brethren.
What do you think about throwing CJ Stroud in there against Indianapolis over Kirk Cousins for JJ?
Oof.
I don't think you can bench. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I agree with that decision, but he's a Kirk Cousins guy, and
He is. He's never going to be down.
JJ goes with his gut. So
I mean, a couple weeks ago, he had 4 touchdowns, 500 yards against Tampa Bay. I mean, they went back and forth, and had a game. But since then, 2 games, averaging right around 13.5 to 14 points over week 6 and 7. So that's for Kirk Cousins, right?
And
CJ
Stroud's
Stroud,
due to come back. He's due for a performance.
he is due, right? He had a tough week against Green Bay. Less than 100 yards. Didn't carry the ball much, but I don't know if Nico Collins is coming back this week. But if he gets Nico Collins back, I think you gotta give him a chance, right? He got to redeem himself. It's a divisional matchup. See what he can really bring to the table here.
Hey,
Yeah, Nico Collins is on IR, so I don't think he'll be back till week 10 at the earliest.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's why I think I'm rolling with the tight end from the Texans this week, because Laporte hasn't done shit for me. So we're benching him this week.
You got to do that. JJ is actually projected 114 at the moment, but if he changes his tight end, if Dallas Goedert is good to go, because Hawkinson is still listed as out, so he'll give himself a little bit of a boost if he can get a reliable tight end to go up against Jim.
Well, Jimmy's end's going to be getting a little tight after he loses to JJ this week. So we'll see if that prediction plays out appropriately for when we talk next week. And I think Craig agreed to the old Musket agreed to join next week too. So
there you go.
Hopefully we'll have some post matchup banter.
Perfect.
But I think we're getting close to the hour mark, right, Adam? So
I think so. Yep.
Appreciate you being here. Thank you for your interest in coming back to the league, and happy to have you back. And looking forward to see where your team goes the rest of the year. Wish you the best luck against Drew this week, and hopefully at some point we'll be able to get you back on, maybe in a playoff scenario, to see see how things are looking as we count down towards the playoffs here.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Appreciate it, boys. Thanks for the invite back. Loving the league again. It does feel good to be back, even though I'm not having a tremendous year, right? I'd like to be more in that huck it, chuck it area in number 1, maybe number 2, but hey, we're making do. So I appreciate you boys letting me come on here and spit a little bit about the league and kind of get your thoughts on the team and kind of how the league's going, and look forward to it again in the future.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, and say hi to Spike for us too when you see him next.
Yeah,
I haven't talked to him since I flipped him the bird, but
Right. Well, if we make the playoffs, maybe that'll bring him back, and I can get him to join the pod a little bit here and chop it up. But until then, we'll save him for whenever we really need that momentum shift. You know what I mean?
It's a good call. It's a good call.
Yeah, we'll look forward to your updates as we get closer to the playoffs, seeing if you can get him to come out of his Section 8 housing a little bit there in Blairsville. So
living with his dad and his stepmom still,
Oh, jeez. But Adam, it's always a pleasure. Talking to you. Other than I know most people's 3 favorite words are "I love you." I'm just going to tell you what my 2 favorite words are. You can both go ahead and frig off.
Hey, frig off.
I love it. Appreciate it, boys.
Take care, boys. Good luck in week 8.
Good luck, everyone.
You too.